Welcome back to Power and Grace Live. I'm Eileen, and today we're going to talk about skipping the Vinyasa and what it means to incorporate the Vinyasa into your practice or to leave it as a modification as you're moving through your sun salutation. So we'll get started by moving into sun salutation A. So come to the top of your mat and find your way into mountain pose. So mountain pose, grounding into the feet, finding a nice lengthened spine, lengthening right up through the crown. Bend slightly into the knees. Inhale and reach the arms up. Exhale to swan dive forward. Maybe you come onto the block, or maybe you bend into the knees and lengthen the hamstrings out. Inhale to lift halfway. Exhale to fold. Now here's where we Vinyasa, and before you skip it, you have to know what it is, right? So let's begin by taking the Vinyasa. You're gonna step back left, step back right, and find your way into the top of a push-up position. This is plank pose. And from here, you can either drop your knees to lower or lower with the knees lifted. That's your call. So we lower and hover just slightly above the mat, and then let the belly touch and the ribs touch and come into a back bend. Maybe Sphinx or baby cobra. Tops of the feet nice and active. And then exhale to press back to downward facing dog. And we'll freeze frame here. So that is the Vinyasa, and there are times that you'll hear an instructor offer you the option of skipping the Vinyasa. And so now that we've seen what it involves, when might you want to skip it? It's generally speaking, a gentle modification to your practice. So times you might want to skip it. You're tired from either the practice itself, it's a little further on in the practice, and you've done a few Vinyasas and you're ready to leave one out as you practice. Or maybe you're tired from something you've done off the mat, your yard work, physical work around the house or at your job, and you just feel like you're not up for the strenuous part of the practice that is the Vinyasa. Another time you might modify that is if you're new to the practice and you're still building the core strength to hold plank. And finally, if you are injured or protecting against an injury to shoulders or wrists, you may decide to leave that piece of the practice out. And so, skipping the Vinyasa is a smart way to protect and preserve your energy. So let's see how that might look in a classical sun salutation. This time we're gonna skip the Vinyasa. So let's come on back to mountain pose, bend into knees, inhale the arms reach. Exhale, folding forward, all the way into Uttanasana, your forward bend. Inhale to lift halfway. Exhale to fold. Now here, your friend next door on the mat might take their Vinyasa. The instructor might guide the Vinyasa, but you might step yourself right back to downward facing dog. And your instructor might even guide you there, saying, we'll all meet in downward facing dog. So let's see how it might look one more time. Walking the hands up to the feet, rise to stand, arms reach. Pause and gather here. There's one more modification that we can take when we skip the Vinyasa that isn't quite a total pass on the Vinyasa, but is actually a modification that allows you your back bend without the strenuous plank pose. So here's one other version of a skipped Vinyasa that you might take. Bending into the knees, inhale down to go up, the arms reach. Exhale, let's swan dive here. Swan dive forward. Inhale, look up and lengthen, halfway lift. Exhale, bending into knees, hands come to the earth. Now instead of stepping back to the top of a push-up, you're gonna come to all fours. You're gonna come to all fours into tabletop position. And then from here, do you see how we're skipping the part of the program that involves the plank, but allowing ourselves the back bend? Lower onto forearms, walk knees back, tops of the feet are flat, and lower into Sphinx. Now you've got your back bend without having the plank. A half skipped vinyasa. Exhale the hands back toward the rib cage and find your way back to downward facing dog, which you could always press right back to anytime. Now that you've got it, let's take a couple together. Inhale, walk the feet up to the hands. Rise to stand, arms reach. Exhale, thumbs to heart, pause and gather. We're going to take 3 variations here. We're going to start with the gentlest, skipping the vinyasa. We're going to take second, the half skipped vinyasa. And finally, we're going to take the full vinyasa. So here we go, bending into the knees, down to go up. Inhale, arms reach. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, look up and lengthen. Exhale. The cue in class might be, here you can take your vinyasa or come back to downward facing dog any way you like. In which case, we're skipping the vinyasa, we're stepping right to down dog. Take a look between your hands, round 2. Here's another really nice modification to have in your wheelhouse. Exhale, thumbs to heart. Forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway, look up and lengthen. Exhale, fold. Bending deeply into the knees, hands come to the earth, half skipped vinyasa. Step back to table. Now you're in all fours, tabletop position, and you're gonna walk yourself onto your forearms. Fingertips point forward, forearms connect. Walk the knees back, Sphinx pose. Half skipped vinyasa includes a back bend with no plank. Shift the hands back toward the rib cage, downward facing dog where we'll meet. Look between the hands, send the feet up one more time. Root to rise, inhale, the arms reach. Exhale, surrender forward. Forward fold. Inhale, look up and lengthen. Exhale, fold. This time we'll take the vinyasa, stepping to the top of a push-up position, plank pose, slowly lowering the body, hovering slightly above the mat, touching down, lifting into baby cobra, belly button on the mat, low ribs down, high ribs lifted. Exhale, pressing back to downward facing dog. Taking a look between the hands, walking the feet up toward the hands, root to rise, inhale, the arms reach. Pause and gather, thumbs to heart. That's a nice little short practice and a great way to work on finding a modification that you can work into your own personal practice by skipping the vinyasa. Thanks for stopping by. See you soon. Bye, guys.